Hello, I'm Naomi. This is Darcy. We're going to read you another story from the Shelley and Friends series. This story is about Reggie the rhino. He has a bit of a temper and he sometimes becomes enraged. But being angry about things is actually perfectly normal. So in this story, Reggie gets angry. We will find out how Reggie's anger is useful in a good way. On a floodplain near a river, the friends of the savannah gathered in the shimmering sun. The sun was high and the hot air sizzled. Monty the monkey, Jemmy the giraffe, Zora the zebra, Ollie the ostrich and Shelley the tortoise chatted about this and they chatted about that. Reggie the rhino stood a little way off, watching the friends sadly. They all get on so well, he thought to himself. I want to be their friend too. But I know that I frighten them, and so they don't dare come close to me. Although Reggie was often angry, he was kind and caring too. He was really feeling quite stuck. He didn't want to frighten them, and so he didn't know what to do. A little bit later, as the sun began to sink in the sky and the day began to cool, the friends talked about having a much-needed drink of fresh, clean water near the stepping stones. They went down to the river. Living on the savannah was thirsty work. But before they had time to make their way down to the river, a herd of grumpy buffalo arrived. Not far away, Reggie watched them and thought to himself, this is a problem. One buffalo, more troublesome than the rest, stepped away from the herd and got ready to charge the friends down by the river. He had put down his head, he'd stamped his feet, and he snorted a long, furious snort. Arrgh! The friends huddled together in fear round Shelley, trying to feel safe. Ollie whistled a tune as if everything was okay. Reggie saw the danger. He knew he didn't have much time, and he needed to take action to prevent further trouble. So he made a plan quickly in his head. Reggie the rhino was enraged. He knew he had to use the energy from his anger in a good way. So he stepped into the path of the bellowing buffalo to protect the friends from his fury. Look how enraged Reggie is. The buffalo began to charge, and then he saw Reggie standing in his way. His eyes grew wide. The buffalo could see Reggie was angry, and an angry rhino is a tricky thing indeed. At the very last minute, gasping now in shock, the buffalo skidded to a halt in the savannah dust. Reggie knew his friends still needed that drink from the river. He could see the buffalo was still in the way. Again, using the energy from his anger, he began to stamp his foot and stared firmly at the buffalo herd. To give a clear warning, he gave a loud snort. Arrgh! This frightened the buffalo so much that they all turned and ran far away down the floodplain, looking for their own safe place. There they are, running away from the river and away from the friends. The friends looked at Reggie in awe. They knew how angry he could be. They had called him Raging Reggie. They also knew that Reggie had just used the energy from his anger to help them all. "You made a plan and you worked out what to do," cried Monty. "You were amazing." "I feel a bit safer now," said Shelley. "Ooh. Can we take a risk to go and get a drink now?" The animals stepped cautiously towards the inviting water, still keeping Reggie at a distance. "We don't need to worry about Reggie right now," announced Ollie. "Let's play a game until we can work out what to do. Let's do something else and not worry about him." Ooh. Lusimba the lion had been watching from a nearby rock. He jumped down and kindly said, "Friends, you can't ignore what just happened here. Reggie used his anger to help protect you from the buffalo. Don't you think this would be a good time to invite him to join your group?" "But it feels risky," sputtered Zora. "He's a rhino after all, a rhino who gets into a rage." "Yes," replied Lusimba, "but today he worked out how to use his anger to take action in a way that helped everyone. So maybe instead of playing, it's time to sort this out," began Ollie cautiously. "We know Reggie is kind and we know he really wants to be friends." There he is, just sat on the outside. Shelley decided, "I think Lusimba is trying to tell us something important. I think Reggie is ready to be friends with us and we need to be ready to be friends with him." "Being friends is important," said Monty, "and Reggie protected us all today. He behaved like a very good friend indeed." "Come and join us, Reggie," called Shelley. "Come and have a drink with us." I can see all of their reflections in the river there. "You know, it may be time to rename Reggie," suggested Lusimba. "He's not a raging rhino now," Gemma added. "It's completely normal to feel angry sometimes, but I think maybe the rage has gone." "So maybe Reggie the raging rhino is now just our friend Reggie," suggested Monty. "What do you think, Reggie?" asked Shelley. "Yes, do tell us," said Ollie. "We want to know." But Reggie just smiled. And that's the end of the story. There's some things to think about here. In the beginning, what stops Reggie from being friends with the other animals? Can you remember? It was his raging anger, because the others were frightened of him. But what did Reggie do to use his anger in a good way? He used that anger, didn't he, to scare away the buffalo. His friends were at risk from the buffalo. But because he used his anger in a good way, it scared the buffalo away, and Reggie protected his friends. What about Lusimba? How did Lusimba the lion help the other animals to become friends with Reggie? Because the friends were just going to go off and play, weren't they? But Lusimba encouraged the other animals to see that Reggie had used his anger to protect them and helped them see that actually he wasn't someone to be scared of. His anger was used in a good way. Some other ideas there that you can do. You could maybe snort and stamp your feet, like Reggie did, to show that you're angry in a good way. You could practice growling to show that you're angry. Darcy, do you ever growl to show that you're angry? She doesn't look very growly now, does she? She looks quite sleepy. But if she's got a ball and she doesn't want to let it go, she might growl to tell me that she doesn't want me to take it. I hope you've enjoyed that story today. There's lots more stories in the Shelley and Friends series, and you can download them at the moment from the Emotional Logic site. Thank you for listening to my story. Hope to see you at Toucan soon. Bye-bye.